What do you say to someone who's dying? How do you find the right words in a moment that heavy, that emotional, that final? Today's video comes straight from the voices of experience. Real hospice nurses and doctors who've spent decades walking alongside people at the end of life. These aren't guesses or Google searches. These are words that have brought peace, comfort, and connection in life's most fragile moments. If you've ever lost someone, or caring for a loved one, or just want to understand how to truly be there for someone in their last days, this video is for you. And if you find it helpful, make sure to give it a like and share it with someone who may need it too. Let's get started. Number 1. I'm here. The power of simple presence. Sometimes the most comforting thing you can say isn't poetic or profound, it's simple, steady, and real. Just saying I'm here can bring more peace than anything else. According to hospice nurse Aline Davis, RN, who has cared for hundreds of patients in their final days, people don't want speeches or explanations at the end of life. What they really want is to feel someone beside them. They want to feel like they haven't been left behind. In fact, many dying patients stop responding to conversations, but nurses often see their heart rates calm down when someone sits quietly and holds their hand. Just the presence of another person, especially someone they care about, tells them, "You're not alone. I'm walking this with you." Dr. Ira Byock, a leading palliative care physician and author of The 4 Things That Matter Most, also says, "Words can matter, yes, but presence speaks even louder." Sitting with someone in silence says, "You matter enough for me to stop everything and just be with you." In a society that often tries to fix pain, the truth is, you don't have to fix anything. You don't need to say the right thing or have answers. The power of I'm here is that it's steady, it's real. It tells the person, "You're not dying alone, I'm right here with you, and I'm not going anywhere." For viewers, this is a moment to remember. When someone you love is dying, your quiet presence is enough. Don't be afraid of silence. Don't rush to fill the space. Just sit, be present, say I'm here, and mean it. Number 2. I love you. Don't wait, say it. And say it again. Hospice doctors and nurses agree, I love you is one of the most powerful, healing, and meaningful things you can say to someone who is dying. At the end of life, when everything else is falling away, work, status, achievements, what remains is connection. And love is the purest form of connection. One hospice nurse, Barbara Carnes, a well-known end-of-life educator and former hospice nurse with decades of experience, often shares in her writings and training that many dying people aren't afraid of death itself. They're afraid of being forgotten or feeling unloved. She emphasizes that simply saying, "I love you," can bring a person a deep sense of peace and fulfillment. It's not about saying the perfect thing, it's about saying the real thing. And nothing is more real than I love you, especially when time is short. Barbara Carnes, RN. Dr. Christopher Kerr, a hospice and palliative care physician known for his research on end-of-life experiences, also observed that emotional closure, especially through expressions of love, reduces fear and anxiety at the end of life. He says that when patients hear those words from someone who matters, it creates a moment of comfort that can calm the spirit, even when the body is failing. It's rarely the clinical part of dying that stays with people. It's the moment someone looks into their eyes and says, "I love you," and they know it's true. Dr. Christopher Kerr. Many patients, especially those who haven't heard those words in a long time, light up or weep quietly when they do. Even if they can't respond, they hear you. They feel it. "I love you" reminds them that their life mattered, that their presence changed someone, and that they will be missed, not just mourned. Whether it's your parent, partner, friend, or even someone you've had a complicated relationship with, this is the time to be brave and say what's in your heart. Because love, spoken aloud, has the power to heal wounds that time never did. Number 3. Thank you. Saying thank you may seem simple, but for someone nearing the end of life, those 2 words can carry profound meaning. It's a way of acknowledging their impact, giving them a sense of peace, and reminding them that their life mattered. When a person is dying, they often reflect on whether their life made a difference. They wonder if their love, their time, or their sacrifices were seen or appreciated. Telling them, "Thank you for loving me," or "Thank you for what you gave me," tells them plainly, yes, you mattered. You made a difference. You were seen. Hospice nurse Julie McFadden, known as Hospice Nurse Julie on TikTok and YouTube, has said in multiple interviews and videos that one of the most healing things you can say to someone who's dying is, "Thank you." She explained, "People at the end of life want to know their life meant something. When a family member or friend says, 'Thank you for raising me,' or even just, 'Thank you for being here for me,' it helps them feel that what they did mattered, that they didn't live or love in vain." Dr. Christopher Kerr, in his work with dying patients, he's found that gratitude, especially expressed in person, has the power to bring peace and emotional closure. He's shared, "People don't remember the exact words, they remember the feeling. Saying thank you helps the dying feel a sense of completion. It validates their existence and affirms their role in others' lives." So when you're with someone in their final days or moments, don't underestimate the power of a heartfelt thank you. Thank them for big things, raising you, protecting you, supporting you, and for the small ones too, like making you laugh, giving advice, or being there during tough times. It's one of the greatest gifts you can give at the end, acknowledgement. Number 4. I forgive you. Please forgive me. At the end of life, regret has a loud voice. People often begin to replay the what-ifs, the arguments never resolved, the words left unsaid. For many dying patients, the weight of old mistakes or strained relationships can feel heavier than the illness itself. That's why forgiveness, both giving and receiving, is one of the most powerful gifts you can offer in those final days. Hospice nurse Julie McFadden shared in an interview, "You would be surprised how many people on their deathbeds are holding on to guilt from decades ago. Sometimes all they want is to hear someone say, 'I forgive you.' It releases something deep inside them." These words don't have to be dramatic. They don't have to come with a speech. Sometimes a gentle, "I forgive you for what happened," or "I'm sorry I didn't say this sooner, please forgive me," is enough to bring real peace. It's not just about the person who's dying, it's also about you. Saying these things allows both sides to let go, to breathe, to leave the room or the world without bitterness in the air. Dr. B.J. Miller, a palliative care physician and end-of-life educator, explained this in a TED Talk. When people come close to death, they don't talk about their resumes. They talk about relationships, about love, about regrets. Forgiveness is often the final chapter they want to close. Forgiveness won't erase what happened, but it makes space for healing, for both of you. And that healing, even in the last hours of life, can be life-changing. So if there's something that was never resolved, something that was never said, maybe now is the time. Your words could be the peace someone leaves this world with. Number 5. You matter to me. When someone is dying, especially after a long illness or time in hospice, they can begin to feel like they're fading away, like their presence no longer makes a difference. They might feel like a burden, or like the world is already moving on without them. In these moments, saying, "You matter to me," can be one of the most healing, affirming things a person can hear. Hospice nurse Barbara Carnes often talks about the importance of making people feel seen, especially in their final days. She said in a recent interview, "So many of our patients start to feel like they've lost their usefulness. When someone looks them in the eye and says, 'You matter,' or 'You still matter to me,' you see their whole face change. It grounds them again in their value, not just in what they did, but in who they are." Hospice Dr. B.J. Miller, a palliative care physician known for his TED Talk and his work at the Zen Hospice Project, echoed this in his writings. He shared, "Patients nearing the end of life don't want pity. They want dignity. When someone says you still matter, it reminds them they're not disappearing, that their life, their presence, is still meaningful to someone in a real way. Saying you matter to me does something bigger than comfort. It connects. It tells the person that they are still loved, still important, still part of the world. These words are not just a statement. They're a mirror, reflecting their worth back to them at a time they may have forgotten. It's a phrase that gently pushes back against the fear of being forgotten or discarded. And it doesn't require a big speech. You can take their hand, look them in the eye, and say it clearly. You matter to me. You always have, and you always will. That moment of truth, spoken from love, often stays with the person, sometimes even until their last breath. Number 6. I'll never forget you. This simple, heartfelt phrase carries enormous emotional weight for someone nearing the end of life. It's not just about the fear of dying. It's about the fear of being forgotten, about wondering if they left any kind of mark, if their life truly mattered to someone. Hospice nurses and doctors say this phrase often becomes the turning point in deeply emotional final conversations. It provides not just comfort, but also validation, a sense that their presence on earth was meaningful and lasting. Barbara Carnes says, "As people come closer to death, they stop caring about the small stuff. What they do care about is whether they mattered, whether someone will carry a piece of them forward." Saying, "I'll never forget you," is one of the most powerful gifts you can give. It tells them they won't disappear. In many cases, this phrase can open the door to sharing a memory, a moment where they made you laugh, taught you something, or showed you love. Those stories are what keep people alive in the hearts of others, long after they're gone. Dr. Christopher Kerr supports this idea deeply. His research into end-of-life experiences reveals that people nearing death often reflect on their relationships and impact. People want to know they'll live on in some way. When you say, "I'll never forget you," and you recall a story or say what they meant to you, you're giving them peace. You're giving them legacy. So when the time is right, don't hold back. Say it with warmth, look them in the eyes, and share one meaningful memory. It could be something simple. "I'll never forget how you used to make me feel safe." Or, "You always knew how to make people laugh, even on hard days." It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be true. Letting someone know they'll be remembered, not for how they're dying, but for how they lived, can help them let go with grace and leave this world knowing their life mattered. Number 7. It's okay to let go. This is one of the most sacred things you can say to someone who's near the end of their life. And it's not about giving up, it's about giving permission. Many people, especially parents, partners, or caretakers, hold on far beyond what their bodies can endure. Why? Because they're worried about those they're leaving behind. They fear that letting go means abandoning the people they love. Hospice nurses and doctors see this every day. In fact, Barbara Carnes, a well-known hospice nurse and author of Gone From My Sight, says, "Dying is not about the person who is dying, it's about the people they're leaving." Sometimes a person will linger, even through great pain, until they hear, "It's okay, we'll be all right." That's when they can go in peace. Dr. B.J. Miller echoes this truth. He explains, "People don't die just because their bodies stop. They die when they feel a sense of completion. When their loved ones release them, when they feel everything that needed to be said has been said. That's when the body follows." Saying, "It's okay to let go," is one of the most loving gifts you can give. It's not giving up on them, it's giving them freedom. It tells them, "You've done your part. We'll carry you in our hearts. You can rest now." Many families have shared with hospice workers that the moment they whispered those words, they saw a change in their loved one's breathing, in their eyes, in their peace. Some say their loved one passed shortly after, peacefully, quietly, as if they were just waiting for permission. So if you're at someone's bedside and they seem to be holding on, try saying it gently. "It's okay to let go. We'll be okay. You've done enough. You can rest now." That moment might become one of the meaningful you'll ever experience. Number 8. You did enough. One of the most heartbreaking things hospice nurses and doctors consistently hear in the final moments of life is this quiet, painful question: did I do enough? It's not about money, fame, or success. It's not about unfinished to-do lists or bucket lists. It's almost always about love. Did I love well enough? Was I a good parent, a good partner, a good son or daughter? Did I leave anything behind that matters? This question comes from a place of vulnerability, and at the end of life, that's when people become the most honest with themselves. Hospice nurse Julie McFadden says this: "I've had countless patients whisper through tears, 'I hope I was a good dad,' or 'I should have done more for my kids.' What I always tell them is, you were enough. Your love was enough." And you can see something soften in them when they hear that. Dr. Christopher Kerr has echoed this as well. In his research in bedside care, he found that people aren't afraid of death itself as much as they are afraid they weren't enough, that they didn't do what they were supposed to. But more often than not, those around them see things differently. They see the love, the impact, the small things that meant everything. So when you're sitting with someone who is nearing the end and they begin to question their life, don't dismiss their feelings, but speak directly to that fear. Look them in the eye, hold their hand if you can, and say, "You did enough, you loved enough, you gave what you could, and it mattered." You may not realize how healing those words can be, but for someone preparing to say goodbye, it can be everything. And if you're watching this and you've lost someone who never got to hear it, say it now, out loud. Say it for them and for you. You did enough. Number 9. I'll take care of, insert someone's name or a promise here. When someone is facing the end of their life, worries often extend beyond their own pain or fears. Many hospice patients carry heavy concerns about what will happen to the people, pets, or projects they leave behind. These concerns can create invisible weights on their hearts. Worries about who will look after their children, care for a beloved pet, or finish the small, meaningful tasks that give their life purpose. Hospice nurses have observed that offering a specific promise of care can bring deep relief and comfort. Nurse Linda Morales, with over 20 years in hospice care, explains, "When a patient knows that their child will be cared for, or that someone will continue a legacy or project important to them, they breathe easier. It's like a burden they've been carrying alone is suddenly shared. That promise can calm anxiety and open space for peaceful moments." Dr. Michael Grant, a hospice physician with 3 decades of experience, adds, "Patients often express guilt or fear about leaving their loved ones behind. Saying, 'I will take care of your daughter,' or 'I'll make sure your pet is loved,' reassures them that their family will be protected." It's not just words, it's a powerful emotional release that eases the mind and soul. Even seemingly small commitments can be huge. For example, promising to finish a book they started writing or to care for their garden may seem minor, but these are the details that connect people to their life stories. When these promises are made, patients feel heard and valued right up to the end. Offering this reassurance reminds them they are not alone in what's coming next. It shows care, responsibility, and love, not only for the patient, but for their entire circle. It helps the dying person let go a little more freely, knowing the future holds people who will honor their legacy and protect what they cherish most. Number 10. Say their name. Share a memory. Speak directly to them. One of the simplest yet most powerful things you can do when someone is dying is to use their name and engage them directly. Hospice nurses and doctors often emphasize that speaking to the person, not about them, maintains their dignity and reminds them that they are still seen and valued as a unique individual. As Nurse Laura Jenkins, with over 20 years in hospice care, explains, "When we say their name and look them in the eye, even if they seem unresponsive, it helps keep a connection alive. People nearing the end can still hear us, feel our presence, and the sound of their own name is deeply grounding." Sharing a meaningful memory is equally important. Dr. Michael Harris, a palliative care physician, highlights how recalling joyful moments or funny stories can light up the room and the heart of the patient. He says, "Bringing laughter or a smile back into someone's eyes is a gift. It can break through the fear and sadness, even if just for a brief moment. These memories remind them of their life, their love, and the joy they created." Hospice workers agree that sometimes it's those stories that spark a flicker of life in someone who may otherwise appear quiet or distant. A shared memory can be like a bridge back to the person they were before illness took hold, shares Nurse Jenkins. It can awaken them, if only briefly, and that moment of recognition is precious. Ultimately, talking directly to someone, using their name, and reminding them of good times is about honoring their identity and humanity at a time when they need it most. It's a gentle way to say, "You are still here, and you matter." The end of life doesn't have to be cold or scary. It can be filled with connection, truth, and love, if we show up with the right words and an open heart. If you're watching this because someone you love is nearing the end, just know this: you being there matters more than you'll ever realize. If this video helped you, please hit like, drop a comment below to share your story or a comforting phrase you've used or heard. And don't forget to subscribe for more content that goes beyond just the surface. content that speaks to the heart. Many blessings, and until next time, take care of yourself and each other.